You've seen luxury SUVs before. Big ones, expensive ones, fast ones. The kind that promise everything and somehow all feel the same. But this is different. Because what you're looking at right now isn't just another full-size SUV trying to compete. It's a warning shot, a signal that something has quietly shifted in the industry, and most people haven't noticed it yet. The 2026 Mazda CX-100 wasn't supposed to happen like this. Not from this brand, not at this level, and definitely not in a segment that has been controlled for years by the same predictable names. But here it is. And the moment you understand what Mazda has actually done, you start to realize this isn't just about one vehicle. It's about a brand changing its identity in real time. Because for a long time, the full-size luxury SUV segment has been comfortable. Too comfortable. The same design formulas, the same oversized grilles trying too hard to look aggressive. The same interiors filled with screens that feel more like tech demos than actual places you want to spend time in. Every year, small upgrades. Every year, slightly better numbers. And every year, the same brands passing the crown between themselves like no one else is allowed to touch it. Until now, because Mazda didn't ask for permission to enter this space. They didn't gradually ease their way in. They walked in, looked at everything, and decided to do it differently. And you see that immediately, before you open the door, before you check the specs, before you even know what engine it has. You feel it in the design. Mazda calls it Kodo, the soul of motion. It's a philosophy that's been around for years, but on something this size, it hits differently. Because the CX-100 doesn't look like it was assembled, it looks like it was shaped. The body isn't cluttered with unnecessary lines. There's no visual noise fighting for attention. Instead, you get these long, uninterrupted surfaces that flow from front to rear like a single piece of sculpted metal. And as light moves across it, the entire vehicle changes character. Not dramatically, not aggressively, subtly, like it's alive. And then there's the color, Mazda's signature soul red crystal. On smaller cars, it already stands out. But here, it transforms the entire presence of the vehicle. This isn't just paint, it looks like depth, like layers, like the surface is holding light instead of reflecting it. And suddenly a full-size SUV feels almost artistic. Now move to the front, because this is where things get interesting. Most luxury SUVs try to dominate the road with aggression. Sharp angles, huge grills, over-designed lighting. The CX-100 doesn't do that. It doesn't need to. Instead, it stands there, calm, controlled, confident in a way that doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. The grille is wide, vertical, detailed with precision, not flashy, not excessive, just enough to draw your focus and hold it. And above it, a thin LED light signature stretches across the front. Clean, minimal, deliberate. It doesn't shout, it speaks quietly. And somehow, that makes it more powerful. Because what Mazda has created here isn't aggression, it's authority, and that's a very difficult thing to design. Most brands don't even try. Look at the stance. Large multi-spoke alloy wheels filling the arches perfectly. Low-profile tires that give it an athletic posture, something most three-row SUVs sacrifice for comfort. But here's the thing. Mazda isn't choosing one over the other. They're telling you you can have both. And that idea, that balance, becomes important later. Because it doesn't just show up in the design, it defines how this entire vehicle behaves. Now move around to the rear, because this is where the design completes its story. A full-width LED taillight stretches across the back. Clean, unbroken, precise. It's a detail you've seen before in this segment. But here, it's executed differently. There's no clutter around it, no unnecessary elements trying to compete, just a single confident line of light. Above it, a wide panoramic glass area flows into a contrast black roof. This visual separation does something subtle but important. It lowers the perceived height of the vehicle, makes it look sleeker, sportier, more refined. And then, the exhaust, integrated, minimal, almost understated. Because, again, Mazda isn't trying to impress you with noise. They're focused on proportion, balance, intent. And by the time you've walked around the CX-100, you realize something. This doesn't feel like a car designed to win a comparison test. It feels like a car designed to make those tests irrelevant. Now here's where things take a turn. Because everything you've seen so far, that's just the introduction. The real story begins when you open the door. And before you step inside, there's something you need to pay attention to. One detail. Because it explains everything about where Mazda is going as a brand. Open the door, and instantly, the outside world disappears. Because this interior doesn't follow expectations. It ignores them. You're not stepping into something that feels Japanese. You're not stepping into something that feels German either. There's no obvious reference point, no borrowed identity. It feels Original. The first thing that hits you is the color, deep crimson red, everywhere. Seats, dashboard, door panels, even the headliner. And this is where most brands would hesitate, because going this bold is risky. But Mazda commits completely, and that's what makes it work. This isn't a bright, flashy red trying to grab attention. It's darker, richer, controlled, the kind of color that feels expensive without needing to prove it. And suddenly, the interior doesn't feel like a collection of materials. It feels like a space, a statement, something intentional. This is the detail that changes everything, because it tells you Mazda isn't trying to follow luxury trends. They're trying to define their own version of it. And once you notice that, everything else starts to make sense. The seats, for example, wide, supportive, deeply contoured, designed to hold you in place without ever feeling restrictive. This is important because most large SUVs choose comfort over engagement. Soft seats, relaxed posture, perfect for long drives, but disconnected from the act of driving. The CX-100 doesn't do that. It gives you both. Comfort when you want it, control when you need it. And then there's the material quality. This is where Mazda makes a serious statement, because nothing here feels accidental. Every surface you touch, from the stitching to the trim, has been considered. Not overdone, not excessive, just right. Wood accents are used sparingly. Metal elements appear exactly where they should. And instead of trying to impress you with quantity, Mazda focuses on precision. And that changes how you experience the space. Because true luxury isn't about adding more, it's about refining what's already there. Now look ahead. Because this is where technology comes into play. A wide panoramic display stretches across the dashboard, blending the instrument cluster and infotainment into one continuous visual field. But here's the difference. It's not trying to dominate your attention. It's designed to support it. Positioned at a natural eye level, so instead of looking down or away from the road, the information comes to you, and that sounds simple. But most manufacturers still get this wrong. Now, behind that screen is something even more important. Mazda's next generation intelligent system. It learns how you drive, what you prefer, how you interact with the car over time. And instead of forcing you to adapt to it, it adapts to you. But here's where Mazda does something different. They don't let technology take over the experience. Because right below that display sits something most brands are removing. A rotary control dial. Physical, tactile, reliable. And this is a deliberate decision. Because Mazda understands something others have forgotten. Not everything should be a touchscreen. When you're driving, you shouldn't have to look away just to adjust something simple. Your hand should find it naturally, without thinking, without searching. And that combination, a clean digital interface with physical control, creates something rare. An experience that feels modern, without losing its human side. And that might be the most important thing about this entire interior, because it doesn't try to impress you in the first 5 seconds. It grows on you, every detail, every interaction, every moment you spend inside it. Adds up to something bigger. And by now, you're starting to understand what makes this vehicle different. But we haven't even talked about how it moves yet. And that is where expectations get completely reset.